we're going in to join the meeting.
And we're going to take a place at the meeting. We want a seat at the table. We want to be part of the process. We want open public meetings announced 72 hours prior with an agenda. We want to be included in this process all the way to the end when the city has a final and the community has a final LCP. Then we will have it voted on and ratified and passed.
It's not fair of the Department of City Planning. They have proved again and again that the Department of City Planning has no interest in creating or preserving affordable housing here in Venice. If the developers are going to have 32 seats at the table, we need 32 seats at the table.
Secret meeting with the real estate developers, their agents, their allies, and some special interests to decide for us what our local coastal program should be. Our local coastal program basically sets the benchmark for what we want Venice to be. Yeah. And they're trying to rewrite what that benchmark is according to the destruction that they've already done to this point. Instead of where Venice was, what, 2 decades ago?
2001.
2001. So 15 years ago. They want to jump the clock up 15 years to include all the stuff that they put in here, and we say no. So we're going in to join the meeting.
And we're going to take a place at the meeting.
And Lydia, do you want to take it from here and fill in?
We're going to go in and we're going to actually give them a list of demands. I don't know if any one of you want to distribute these list of demands to the people sitting there. We want the cameras to make sure we capture all the individual people sitting there on our behalf. And we're going to take a seat. We want a seat at the table. We want to be part of the process. We want open public meetings announced 72 hours prior with an agenda. We want to be included in this process all the way to the end when the city has a final and the community has a final LCP. Then we will have it voted on and ratified and passed. We do not need them to rewrite this. We want them to pass the one that exists and add some controls. It's very important because what we have written is great and it protects what we have now and what we had before. Basically gives us a lot more leverage and a lot more right being multi-generational and long-term great standing residents of Venice. So with that, no controls. We want a seat at the table until this thing is finished, the LCP, right?
Right.
So who's with me? Yes.
Right.
So there was, the way we learned about this was there was a list going around. It's an invitation to the meeting. So it's an invitation only meeting. And it says right on it, you know, this meeting is by invitation only. So who are these folks? There's 37 names on here. Now, maybe 4 or 5 of them are people who would be inclined to support us. Okay, so I want to say off the bat what our tone should be when we go in there. The folks who have been invited to the meeting are largely, the other 32 are developers and real estate agents, some of whom we know very well because we know what they've done to us. Lawyers, yep, folks like that. However, for the folks that are our allies, what we want to say is that it's not fair of the Department of City Planning to expect them to represent themselves and all of us. That's why if the developers are going to have 32 seats at the table, we need 32 seats at the table, not 5, right?
Right.
Last thing, there's not one Venice tenant. There's not one displaced Venice resident who's been kicked out. There's not one veteran. There's not one person on EBT. There's not anybody on Section 8. There's not anybody whose grandparents were born here.
Is there a teacher on there?
I don't know that there's a teacher on here.
A nurse?
I don't know where a lot of these folks make their home, but we know that they make their business tearing up Venice and kicking folks out. It's not fair of the Department of City Planning. They have proved again and again that the Department of City Planning has no interest in creating or preserving affordable housing here in Venice or helping the community maintain its character. They have no interest in that whatsoever. So the number one target of our wrath tonight should be the department and the characters from the Department of City Planning.
And if CD11 is there.
And if CD11 is there, we got to make sure that those who called this meeting realize that they screwed up.
We should ask when we go in there.
Okay. What time? Right.
Oh, no, this is just...
Do we sign in?
No. Why not? Hey, how you doing?
Perfect. Yes, I'll find my seat somewhere.
Let everyone sign in.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming today. We're going to let you know that the community has decided to join this secret private meeting put on by the planning department, and we're inviting everyone from Venice to join the table so that the developers and the land speculators and the architects don't get to decide for us what our community should be. So welcome Venice to the table. Thank you very much.
No, it's not thank you for coming. You guys didn't even tell us this is going on.
Well, we'd like to invite you to future events.
Yeah, but now you invite us that we come.
Yeah, I think we should start public comment now. So Laddie, you were first up.
No, I'm just saying you did not invite us. Why is that?
Please sign in. You're welcome to
No,
be
no, no. I'm asking a specific question. Why were we as the community not?
We can talk afterwards.
No,
but
not afterwards. Not, let's do it now. Now. Because we were not invited.
I understand, and I will answer that question as soon as everyone gets seated, and we can have a conversation that everyone is a part of. Is that acceptable?
But you didn't want us to
But
be
you
a part
didn't
of the
want us to be a
conversation.
part
You
of it.
wanted us out of the conversation. You wanted to exclude us from the
Who
conversation.
decided?
Who decided?
Nobody
Who
decided.
decided?
Oh,
Who decided
somebody
to exclude
did.
Venice?
Very
Who did-
strategically.
Are you in charge? No, you're not in charge.
have
We're in
one,
charge.
two renters.
We're in charge here.
My name is Jonathan Hershey. I'm a senior city planner. I'm managing the LCP work program. We're going to give a short presentation at the beginning of this
That's
program.
not my question.
That will
This room should be full.
That will explain what the purpose of this meeting is, and maybe it will
Please,
answer some of
can
your
you-
questions.
No, answer our question.
You
Why
can answer our
wasn't this a
question
public
right
forum?
now.
Why is this not a
Why
public
was
forum?
this not? Why are all these developers and Grand Labbers here and we weren't invited? These people who are serial violators.
I understand some of your concerns. Again, once we get
Serial
Who
violators.
once we
decided?
get the initial presentation started,
No, you don't
I think you'll-
understand.
invite us?
We're asking a question.
Two questions.
I understand.
Why weren't we not invited?
I
Why
understand
wasn't
what your
none of
question
this
is.
Oakwood color, people of color, invited to a LA City planning meeting that said it is by invitation only?
Again, once we begin our presentation, I think it might be a little
No, I think you need to answer the question.
You should answer the question.
Answer the question.
All right. So
No. I need to answer the question, please.
if you want your
No,
question answered,
you guys could answer that because you would have had control if we had not been here, right?
for you, let me introduce
We wouldn't be
myself.
upset if we didn't.
My
We
name
wouldn't
is
be upset.
Solomon Carey. I honestly don't know half the people or any of the people in the room.
Oh, well,
so
you
I'm
got a
glad-
bunch of serial violators of
how did they
ugly,
get
fugly
selected for this
boxes.
and we didn't?
CX, VSO, mellow violators.
Okay,
These
please
people.
take a seat. I want to invite you guys to the table. I'm not understanding
We're
why.
not sitting down. We want our answers.
Okay.
Answer our question.
We don't have our answers.
We don't understand why the developers were invited instead of the community.
The shortest, most succinct answer is that this is a small meeting to discuss how to do outreach for the rest of this program.
But why the realtors and why the fucking realtors who are fucking our community up?
They don't care about realtors make decisions for people that live in the community. They can't make decisions for us.
No, I have to because they're not.
They're not.
If you're doing it for us,
Why weren't we invited?
We invited.
To speak for all of Venice.
These people were invited and they're a majority of
The council office, if we missed inviting the right people to the meeting,
But you invited all the developing interests, all the big money interests are represented around the table. This is a violation of your job for transparency for our community.
it's a focus group, but we're willing to
No, but what about everybody, folks? We were not even invited.
You know that. We weren't invited, so
How is that? We weren't invited. But realtors, architects, and developers are going to decide what's best for sixth-generation families? No, that's what that is. But what is it?
Where's our invitation? Where's our invitation?
Where's our invitation? Where's our invitation? Where's our invitation?
part of the meeting.
I would like for you to answer my question. Why wasn't the entire community, why is it invitational only? Why is it that it wasn't just put in the newspaper and this place should be packed out? You guys made a mistake, admit it. You made a mistake. You have developer, you got a realtor who's a known violator
So can I ask you a question? Do you want to be a part of the meeting?
I would have loved to have been invited as a sixth generation, not architects and developers who are coming in here, putting up fugglies, those big old illegal buildings that you guys are allowing to be done, and rubber stamping up, and I don't want those in the LCP. There's no new writing of the LCP. You need to meet with community who's here. Well, but that's a problem with all these speculators. That's a problem. Why is there more speculators than community?
present us.
I did comment. Did you see my comment? No, I just sent him to.
Send it to
Also, offer the city's apologies to those who were not invited to the meeting. And we are glad that you're here now. And we are more than willing to accommodate this larger group at the meeting, and we hope that you can see there are places at the table for you. So I want to welcome you to the discussion, and if it's all right, what I would like to do, this meeting was planned to be somewhat short and succinct, so there's going to be a presentation from staff just explaining what the local coastal program is.
We all know.
Okay. And then there will be table group discussions.
Your apology will be accepted when you email us. We will take a seat at the table. We want the community to be involved.
Not just realtors, not just architects, not just developers. Who are trying to ruin our LCP for their financial gain. And I'm ashamed that the city did that.
I hear you loud and clear, and again, our apologies. So if we have your email address on the sign-up sheet, you will absolutely get every email.
Oh, I know we want.
We have a copy of this. This is our demands, that we want a seat at the table. The community wants a seat at the table. Until the LCP is completed, we want a seat at the table on all levels, on all events and all meetings.
So right now I'm hat in hand, and I'm asking if we can proceed with the meeting, and that would involve incorporating everybody. So please have a seat at the table.
Before we get started, in order to proceed in the manner that's going to help us work through this as efficiently as possible, we need you to sign in on the sign-up sheet. If everybody's signed in, then good. Everybody's all right? Okay. Well, we're rescheduled everything we have to say. in order to do that, I need to be sure that the room is kept quiet, okay? So, my name is Jonathan Hershey. I'm a senior city planner with the Department of City Planning. I'm managing the work program in order to carry through the certification of the local coastal program. Okay? I'm here today with staff representing the work program for carrying the local coastal program through, both through the development of the land use plan, rather the update of the certified land use plan, and the revision of the Venice specific plan to hopefully become the local implementation program, together comprising the local coastal program. Okay? So our objectives tonight are really twofold. Okay? We are trying to share, or we want to hear from you, some of the issues that affect you and the Venice community.
Oh, really? You want to have a secret meeting about things that are going to affect our community, and now you're say after you haven't invited us?
Okay.
Do you understand the hypocrisy coming out of your mouth?
Yeah. So we're not going to be having discussions with you about the issues that are most important to you. We want to solicit information from you representing the Venice community. And we've tried to select a balanced list between community members, organizations, the neighborhood council, and development. Because these are all stakeholders within the Venice community to one degree or another. So also what we're trying to do is solicit from you the best ways in order to outreach whether that's by day of the week, time of the day, what the best ways to outreach, whether by mailer or by email.
Where's the community?
This program.
Where's the community?
As we are going to have many meetings with the Venice community. We're going to be in order to discuss some of these items. We just want to hear from you about the things that currently work and the things and we can help try to figure out where the areas are that we might be able to start and focusing on those issues. Our agenda is a little bit skewed at this moment. We wanted to start early because we wanted to give you the bulk of the time to comment back to us what some of your ideas were, some of the frustrations that you have, the things that work, the things that don't work. Okay?
The realtor's frustration is going to have to
I'm now going to turn the remainder of the presentation over to Hagu over here. She's our city planner. She's actually heading up the unit that's going to be primarily working with this. And then her staff member, Laura, here. Between the two of them and some additional staff that we're going to be bringing in along the way over the next several years, we're going to be helping to update the land use plan and then bringing the implementation program into clearer focus so that we can have a certified land use, certified coastal program compliant with the coastal zone. So I guess I'm going to turn it over to...
Who made the invite list?
time. We're going to probably go through
Time? No, time is not of essence at this point.
There's a question here.
Okay, before we take the question, I just want to take a moment. Sure. Before we address the question and move further in the presentation, I just want to take a moment, calm down, to say I'm glad that everyone is here, and I'm so sorry that everyone wasn't invited. There are
Who made the list? Who conspired the list for this meeting?
I will share that in a second.
I need the name of who made the list.
I will share that with
The
you.
list.
How was it decided?
How was it decided?
Full responsibility. I'm
Who made the
Taking full responsibility.
You made the list.
Who made the list?
I did. I'm taking full responsibility. I just want
Did you make the list?
We don't care about you taking responsibility.
So you made the list.
emails of all the developers, but
And look at him over there trying to say, look at
And did our
Make sure you get that.
Who made the list?
meeting clearly needs.
And what they think.
Hello.
Because of the money. Hello.
We're going to reschedule this meeting. We're going to reschedule the meeting. If you would like to be invited to the meeting.
And we don't want no architects and no developers or taxi drivers.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
You asked for the meeting to be rescheduled.
Serial violators. They're walking out the door.
Can you meet me halfway?
Serial violators. Jim Murad and John Reed. Serial violators.
Meeting, which we are.
How many people are
We're rescheduling the meeting for the public. We're rescheduling the meeting for the public. Let's have a public meeting. Let's have a public meeting.
And no more secret meetings downtown. Realtors.
We don't want, we don't want realtors because they have a conflict of interest, just so you know.
That's understandable, and I certainly understand the point that we want a broader cross-section. But this was a meeting to plan future meetings, essentially.
But it was a meeting only with developers.
I get that, and I apologize, and that's an important point. So what we're trying to pull off now is to talk to a small group of a broad cross-section of the community.
Right. Transparent.
Okay, this isn't, hey, here's what we're doing in Venice. It was, we need to have X amount of community meetings. We need to address these types. It was intended to be a focused discussion versus a large, let's invite everybody to the thing.
Who were you focusing on? You guys were focusing on the wrong people. You were focusing on the money.
Again, you've landed that point. So I guess, but what I'm trying to say is,
the people you know. You're inviting the people you know, but you need to be inviting the people you don't know.
I hear you. I hear you.
And once you get invited to the people you know.
But I guess what I'm saying is are you organized in a way that there are 4 or 5 of you that would come and balance out the other versus we're not trying to have a 5
we can bring 12.
Well, we're not trying to have a 5
4 or 5 is not enough. There's more developers than
not enough content.
But the thing is, it does need to be a transparent, open, public process. So we're going to need to get all the chairs out and invite the entire community, and that will be our focus group. Those who care enough to be in the room are your focus group.
Okay, so this is my last question.
And we'll get the word out. You let us.
We don't want developers. We don't want architects.
I hear you. I hear you. So
they are not
my last.
community.
So this is the last thing, and this may be naive people in City Hall just trying to plan a meeting.
They know.
The intent was to start small, have a focused discussion, figure out the work program, and then have these larger meetings. So if we start with a larger meeting, do you see that being a productive discussion, or is it more shouting?
Yes, but no.
Because we can't be gridlocked.
No.
You know what I mean?
We made a point. We made our point. You heard us. That's good. That's at the moment that communication can begin. But first you have to hear us. Unless we walk in a room and take over the meeting, no one hears us. So this is a good step forward. Now we can begin to communicate.
Okay.
Now, we have a list of our demands. You have a copy of that list. That's where we're starting from. It may not be a perfect list, but as a community that is more diverse than what has been invited.
Everybody's got their demands,
exactly.
and
one of the big demands that we have to really understand is that the developers, they have a financial interest in what's going to happen here. So you cannot make them your focus group.
We were not even invited. You know that. We weren't invited. So how is that? We weren't invited. But realtors, architects, and developers are going to decide what's best for 6th-generation families. You guys made a mistake. Admit it. You made a mistake. You have developer. You got a realtor who's a known violator.
So can I ask you a question? Do you want to be a part of the meeting?
I would have loved to have been invited as a 6th generation, not architects and developers who are coming in here, putting up fugglies, those big old illegal buildings that you guys are allowing to be done, and rubber stamping up, and I don't want those in the LCP. There's no new writing of the LCP.
If the developers are going to have 32 seats at the table, we need 32 seats at the table.